Hello, everyone, and welcome to the CPA MOMS Podcast. I'm Nicole, your host and the brand ambassador of CPA MOMS. Today, I am honored to welcome Stacy Scott to the podcast. Stacy has been a nurse for over 16 years, and what I think makes her so special is the way that she sees health. It's not just a piece of the puzzle, but it's really the care of all of our parts: emotional, physical, spiritual, and mental. She is the proud mother of 4 daughters and now is raising 3 of her grandchildren, which really gives her a beautiful perspective on family, resilience, and the way life keeps calling us to show up with love and strength. Stacy is also the host of the podcast Mindful Living with Nurse Stacy, which launched on August 6th. In her show, she invites listeners into a space for exploring a holistic approach to health, nurturing the body, soul, and spirit for a balanced and fulfilling life. Through conversations about wellness, mindfulness, faith, and intentional living, Stacy reminds us that true health is about more than just treating the symptoms. It's about embracing wholeness from the inside out. I cannot wait for you to hear her wisdom and her heart in today's conversation. Thank you so much for being here, Stacy.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. So today I'd like to focus on, or at least start off talking, who knows where we'll end up, about nutrition and more specifically, nutrition on the go. So as busy moms running all over town, making sure kid number one's getting to soccer practice and kid number two is getting picked up from school on time, picking up groceries, dropping off dry cleaning, all the things, right? It can be kind of difficult to find time to not just plan and then prepare those delicious and nutritious meals that we all want to feed to our families.
Mhm.
So I know that just based on your bio here, you are no stranger to having a full schedule. So I'd love to hear how you've managed over the years to provide proper nutrition to the family while on the go.
Well, it was a task and it still is a task. However, I have recently adopted a whole food, plant-based lifestyle, and that makes it a lot easier. And it's been working for my family quite well because actually, what we do is when I cook like whole foods, they could be raw foods or cooked foods, whole foods. Um, they're pretty tasty and they like them, and sometimes they don't want to eat it. But what I do is I provide them with choices that they like. So in that whole arena of whole food plant based, I buy things that they like. I actually give them access to the Instacart because we do a lot of that. And they can put in the cart what it is that they like as long as it is healthy. Now, I'm not saying I don't let them do a little bit of the stuff that they want to do every now and then, but we focus on getting the foods that they like and foods that specifically are designed to grab and go. And so they find that quite easy to do, and that's been very helpful.
Great. So what sounds like you have lots of experience with the grab and go. So what are some quick go-to grab and go foods that you recommend to keep on hand?
Fruit, the fruit that they like, especially the ones that are in season, nuts, seeds, they like that. And then, popcorn is one option that we also choose. And juices, specifically juices that we juice ourselves, that helps out a lot. And they usually don't take the juices with them, they'll drink them before they go. And that's basically how it goes. Sometimes they will like pack a lunch with bananas or peanut butter sandwich or something like that, and they're okay with that. Yeah.
No, I mean, that's great. I know that having those go-to snacks that you can grab as you're running out the door is wonderful, but I mean, there are just those times that it's like you're running from one thing to the next. Maybe you forgot to grab it or you just didn't have you were out of groceries and you forgot to order them, whatever. There's always those times, right, where you just
Oh,
eating
absolutely.
out becomes the thing that you have to do, you have to fall back on. Do you have any strategies for eating well when you are eating out or grabbing fast food and that's your only option?
Well, the strategy is theirs at that point. Actually, that happened to us yesterday. I was out and I had to get my daughter's phone switched over, and it took a long time. We were there for hours, so we actually went to Applebee's. But Applebee's don't have a lot of great choices, and so they picked the choices that they wanted that time. I mean, on yesterday. And like I said, there are times when it's just not perfect and we have to do what we have to do while we're out. But I would prefer to go to restaurants who serve at least salads that you can have. But when they're with me, they feel like that's their chance to get whatever they want to get. So
Yeah.
that's how it really works out. So I did order something yesterday and I thought I was going to like it, but I had to end up sending it back because it wasn't right. And so, yeah, it's hard to do it when you're out and about because there's not many restaurants out there. I like to pick restaurants that I know have the foods that I like to eat and I want my family to eat, but we don't go out to restaurants too often at all.
Yeah,
So,
it's definitely easier to make
mhm.
healthier choices when you're cooking at home. And in my opinion, generally tastes a lot better too.
Oh, absolutely. And then you
Yeah.
don't have to worry about all the additives and preservatives in it because these restaurant foods have a lot of sodium, a lot of
Yes.
sodium. And when you have my husband, he has challenges with his kidneys, and so if we're going to restaurants, he really has to be very careful because they dump salt in everything.
Mhm.
So, and their salad choices weren't all that great either. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend. Well, I don't want to say Applebee's, but Applebee's is not the healthiest place to eat at. I think they're rated one of the most unhealthiest places to eat. But it was right next door to where we are. And in between there, it was McDonald's, it was Taco Bell, where else? It was Burger King, Wendy's, all in that general area. And those were not options that we were going to pick.
Right. Yeah, I think it sounds like you picked the best choice you had. And I mean, sometimes we have to do that, right? Like
You do.
there you have to be realistic about life and sometimes that's just the way life is working in our busy times.
Yeah, that's what we call it. We do what we have to do when life is life. And
That's right. That's right. And I
right.
know, I mean, even if you are home for an evening, there's still stuff going on. There's still work and things that need to be done around the house. So even those days, even though you're at the house, can still get hectic and it can be hard to fit in preparing a meal.
Mhm.
So how can meal prepping or even batch cooking help people stay on track during these times?
Oh, it depends on your lifestyle. First off, what you consider staying on track. If you want to stay on track from a whole food, plant-based standpoint, you definitely have to meal prep. Sometimes I make veggie patties, which my granddaughter loves. My husband doesn't eat them, and my grandson doesn't eat them. But we like to meal prep, me and her together. And sometimes she will help me make salads, like big salads, kale salads, that include stuff like red peppers, yellow peppers, onions, and lemon, and avocado, and olive oil. So that was one of our best salads that we like to eat. But I like to dump everything in my salad, like literally almost every vegetable you can imagine. I like it because when I do it that way, I really don't even have to have a salad dressing because all of the flavors in there make up for not having a salad dressing. So me and my granddaughter, we actually meal prep together on occasions. But for the most part, my husband, sometimes he just spends for himself. You know, it's like our family dynamics is a little bit different maybe than the typical family. I know everybody does things differently, but I've been married for over 30 years, and my husband has always been the type of person that would fend for himself. He would not require for me to make dinner all the time. And so that's been a very big help. And so That makes it a lot easier. However, he doesn't always make the healthiest choices, but I did make up in my mind that I was not going to be the food police. So I police as much as I can because I'm the one who typically buys all the groceries and stuff. So what I bring in here usually is healthy foods most of the time. And so our pantry is packed with beans, nuts, vegetables, and just seasonings and different things that are whole food plant based. And the refrigerator is the same way. So I tell my husband that if you want those type of things, he has to purchase them himself. I do. I don't call me mean, but that's what I do. But for the most part, it's over the last 2 years, it's really been working well because he hear me talking about eating healthy, whole food, plant based, talking about the microbiome and talking about how when you don't eat foods that are healthy and you eat processed foods, how it affects your body and how your body doesn't recognize it and how that produces diseases and different stuff like that and how the body is made to heal itself. And if you eat the right foods, you can heal your body from a lot of different diseases if you haven't taken it too far beyond the point that your body is willing to turn itself around. So I heard him on the phone talking to his sister the other day, and he was telling her, it sounded like it was me talking. I'm like, no, he hasn't been just listening to me that much, where he told his sister, I don't want to eat processed foods because your body don't recognize it. And that's the reason why I have all the problems that I have now. And, it's just a good feeling to know that, even though it's hard to get people to switch over to a whole food plant based totally, I noticed that it is working in this household. It is helping, and they are taking and listening to what I am saying, and they are adopting a lot of the things that are related to that lifestyle change. I had my grandson and my granddaughter look at this movie on YouTube. You have to purchase it, but it's called "They're Trying to Kill Us," and it really explains the type of foods that people eat that are processed, highly processed, and what it actually does to the body. And there was a lot of different doctors on that. It was a documentary on that documentary that talked about whole food, plant based, and and a lot of them, they don't just like say don't eat meat. But if you're going to eat meat, the best thing to do is to eat a healthier choice, grass fed, no antibiotics, no hormones, and just make sure that, like, when I buy eggs, I make sure I buy pasture raised eggs. And because it's different between cage free and the other little names that they give them to make it seem like they raise them in an environment that is healthy for the chicken, therefore we're eating a healthier egg. But pasture raised, I found, is the best way to eat your eggs if you want to eat eggs. And if you want to eat meat, I just choose to, when I do eat meat, I want to eat the meat that is from a cow or chicken that's been grass fed, that's been able to roam free in the pasture at all times, not just roam free and then back in the cage you go, And so I think that's kind of inhumane. So I'm really leaning toward being just whole food, plant based, and not meat, but that's not easy to
do. No, it's not.
do.
Yeah, I think that is one of the most frustrating things about our food industry is that when some of this information comes out, like grass fed, when it came out and it really kind of broke loose, just making people aware that the meat you're eating is not real great for you. You need to have grass fed. And then the industry started putting all these things on the label to trick you into making you believe that it is grass fed. And it's not just grass fed, it's grass finished. So now everyone says they're grass fed. Well, yeah, cows are grass fed for the most part, but then they take them at the end and bulk them up with grain, and they're grain finished, and that's where a lot of the problem comes in there. So it's, they start trying to trick you, and until a rule or a law is put into place, then the public just doesn't know or understand these things.
Yeah, they don't know.
So, I mean, I think one of the big things is educating yourself on what you're getting
Hmm.
and how you can figure out their tricks and see past them. Do you have any tips or resources on how someone can get started in that journey?
Absolutely. Label reading. Read your labels. Know what it is that's in your food. If you can't pronounce it, and if you don't know what it is, it's best not to eat it at all. I even had my husband and children in the store with me one time reading the labels. And when they read it, it's like, what's that? I'm like, you don't know what it is? Put it down. And my husband was doing it. I was just so happy to see them be able to do that. But there was some hot dogs that I bought because we like hot dogs, right? So I stopped buying hot dogs because of the nitrates. And I said, any processed meat that has nitrates in it and more ingredients than I can read, I'm not buying it. So we haven't bought processed meats in a long time. But I found this one hot dog. And it was, I think it's a healthy choice. What is it called? I think it may be called Simple Truth. Anyway, we've been buying them and we've been eating them. And my grandson, he decided to take one of the hot dogs and put it in the microwave. And I was like, give me a piece of that. I took a piece of it. It was so salty. I'm like, these hot dogs weren't salty before. I said, I wonder why it's salty. He's like, no, it's not salty, but he likes salt and butter, sugar. He likes all of that stuff. He don't taste it like I do because my tongue is very, very sensitive to sodium. And so I made a hot dog. My husband made me a hot dog and I ate it. And I was like, you know what? It don't taste like it used to taste anymore. It really tastes like it has a lot of sodium in it. And I'd never tasted the sodium before. And then yesterday, my husband said, they don't taste the same. They don't taste like they used to taste anymore. I said, well, that's our cue not to buy it anymore. Because, like you said, I think they're tricking us and they're
Mhm.
putting something in it and they're not putting on the label. And another thing I noticed when I would do my Instacart shopping, they have at the bottom when you click on the food that you want, they'll give you the nutritional value of the food and they'll tell you what's in it as well. And one of the it's called the details, the nutrition, and something else. But what they started doing is they start removing the nutrition label off of there so you don't know. And then they have this little verbiage on the side to make you feel like you're really getting a good product when you're not. So I think that if you stay in the outer perimeter of the store, you're going to do much better than going down those aisles. And you have to be even careful when you're looking in the meat section because they can really fool you. And if it's not grass fed, well, who knows what that means anymore. But anyway, the meat, I've seen documentaries where they talked about meat and what they do to it. They put color on it to make it appear live and vibrant and ready to eat. And I'm like, you don't know what's under that coloring. And I'm like, why are you putting red coloring on the beef and all that kind of stuff? So I don't eat very much beef at all. And I'm getting partial to chickens, but I did find some fish. And I don't know if this is good either, but it says it's wild caught. And I bought three kinds of fish that says it's wild caught. I'm hoping it is. Because nowadays you don't know what you're getting. And
Yeah.
even with the vegetables and the fruits and different things like that, trying to get non-GMO and fruits that have seeds in them and fruits that, are in season that taste good. And it's just hard. And then I know that if the food label says, what is it, a 3 or a 4, that it it's not good. I think you're supposed to have a 9 on it if it's organic. So what does organic mean anymore? What ground was that grown in? How was that ground nurtured over time? You know,
Right.
so
Right.
we can only
Well,
do the best
yeah.
we can.
And I think, pesticides, GMO, all of that is so prevalent that yes, it's been a while since I've read it, but even organic farms, it's so hard to really guarantee organic because, bees pollinate and wind blows.
Yeah.
And if you are anywhere near a field that has the pesticides and has GMO crops in it, I mean, it's very hard to shield it from coming over to a place where even your garden, I have
Mhm.
a cornfield behind me and they'll
Mhm.
come through and they'll spray and I know that that's GMO. And
Mhm.
so what is getting over into my garden, even though I'm trying very hard to have a GMO-free organic garden?
Uh-huh. Yeah. It's hard. It's really hard to separate yourself from what's in the market and what's healthier for you. You just have to make the best choices that you can with what we have available to us.
There it is. Yeah, I completely agree. And I think, how do you encourage, I guess, grace over guilt? Because moms get caught up in this guilt thing, right? And we can find guilt when there is no guilt to be found.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you can go down this rabbit hole like we're talking about, and then just start feeling guilty about what you're feeding your kids. So I think you said, do the best you can. But I
Mm-hmm.
think there's more to that. And how do you encourage grace rather than just have that guilt build up and take over?
Well, I've been recently telling people give yourself some grace. Don't be so hard on yourself. You can always do better the next day or do better the next time. You can't always live in a guilt world when, especially, you're doing the best you can with what you have. Some people don't even have enough to even try to do the best that they can. But when you're doing the best you can with what you have and with the knowledge that you have, then just give yourself some grace. You know, you're providing what you can in love, and that's good enough. When you do it in love and you do it from the bottom of your heart, you got to give yourself some grace. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's great.
I definitely give myself some grace. I can't live without it because I can't get stuck in that,
Right.
because that's not healthy, because it does something to the mindset, and everything begins in the mind. And when your mindset is not healthy, then you can go down a spiral. You can have a spiraling effect on your life, and it can affect different things in your body. If your mind is not thinking right, your body will know it and respond accordingly. So you have to have that mindset of, I'm going to give myself some grace. I'm not going to let this bother me, and I'm not going to be the food police. And I'm not going to, it's just certain things that I remove from my life that I feel like don't serve me. And if I find it hard to even steer my family in the right direction of eating healthy, I don't hammer it in. I used to. I used to talk about it all day, every time they put something in my, what you doing? What you eating? I don't do that anymore. I let them have some freedom to eat what they want to eat. And but for the most part, when I'm buying the food, they have to eat what I buy. But if they want to go out and buy it, there's chances where they can do that. They can buy what they want to buy. But for the most part, not on my dime.
Well, and I think that's important. I mean, one, modeling those habits for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Understanding that they are their own person. One day they are not going to be under your control and they're going to have to make those choices on their own. And so
Mm-hmm.
we just model and teach
Mm-hmm.
and let them experience some of it for themselves, even though that is incredibly difficult.
Yeah. And I ask probing questions too with them, like, how is your body doing? How is your digestive system doing? Are you eliminating regularly? Are you going every day, once a week? How are you doing? I had this conversation with my grandson. He's like, about once a week. I said, you're toxic, right? Your body is toxic. You have all of this processed food that you've been eating and you're not getting it out of your system.
Mhm.
You are toxic. So you need to detox. But first you need to detox up here. And so that's my main focus, is to help them detox their mind, their mental state, and the way they think about food. and about processed foods and what it is that it does to the body, because your body just does not recognize it, and it stores it as fat, around your organs, in your muscles. And when it does that, that's when diseases start to set in. And so it takes longer to reverse a disease, I think. Well, maybe just as long. I know that it takes a long time for a disease to show up after eating that way for a long time. It could take years to show up. And some people think that it just showed up overnight. I've been eating nitrates and hot dogs and bologna my whole life. And nothing never happened to me before. That's, I'm not going to say who said that, but I've heard that over and over. And I'm like, yeah. I said, but one day it's going to rear its ugly head. If you live long enough, you can't keep putting that in your body and your body not respond to it. And I think that's the way a lot of people get cancer, because it shows its head after many, many, many years. And then when you want to detox your body to get all of these toxins that's been in your colon for years that you have not even eliminated, because they're stuck in there because it's stored in your tissues. And you know it's terrible, because it takes a lot longer to get that out of your system. Even if you, I don't even know if you can at that point. It just depends on how far the disease process goes, because I know we're having some challenges right now with my husband with chronic kidney disease. Over the years of eating the same thing, a lot of sugar, a lot of sodium, a lot of processed foods, love his sweets, it caused a lot of health problems, and a lot.
Yeah.
Even to this day, he's struggling with trying to stay out of dialysis. And so those are the things that I try to tell people, because when you have family members that have died from preventable diseases, I get a passion for telling people that you can prevent these diseases. You don't have to live with diabetes. You don't have to live with high blood pressure. You don't have to have metabolic problems going on in your body if you eat right. And so the best thing that you can do is try to avoid it, and try to avoid, foods that have been sprayed. And if you have to spray those foods, there's ways you can clean them. Hopefully you get the foods that you can clean them really good and they don't get on the inside of the fruit. So I love fruit. I love fruits and vegetables. I eat them every day. I just love it. So that's my go-to. Yeah.
Okay. And I think, you can get very overwhelmed with it all, right? But you don't have to completely transform everything today.
No, it takes time.
Right.
It may take 6 months to a year. It just depends, like say, on your mindset. When you determine in your mind that you're going to do something, you can start that road of doing it. But if you mess up and you go back to doing what you don't want to do, and you say, oh, I messed up, like I said, give yourself some grace. You can always start over the next day. You can actually start over the next meal. So you don't have to feel bad about not doing what you purpose to do, because we're all human. We're not gonna do something perfect all the time. And so that's one good reason for us not to judge each other when it comes to somebody. If someone says, I'm whole food plant-based, and they go on a trip, like I just came back from Hawaii, I had to eat what was in Hawaii. Oh, and the fruit there was so good. Oh my God, I wanted to bring some back. Agricultural issues. You can't bring any fruit back. And I hated papaya. And then when I got there and I got some papaya, I said, why is this cantaloupe skin different? She said, ma'am, it's not cantaloupe, it's papaya. When I say it was so sweet and it was so good, I came back home and bought papaya, and it was nothing like the ones in Hawaii. So the fruit in Hawaii is a whole nother ball game. It's so, so good, so sweet. And it's in season year round. So yeah, won't get it here. You have to catch the food that's in the season when it's in the season.
Yeah, I think you hit it. You said it takes a change in mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And then slowly you get your actions in alignment with that mindset. And those actions can just be small shifts. And I love to think about it, if you take one small shift, well, down here, it's a really small shift you took. But when you get out here and over time, that makes a huge difference. You're on a completely different trajectory. So,
Mhm.
what are some small shifts that someone could make today that could really have a big impact for them over time?
I think the best thing to do is to choose the foods that you actually like that are plant-based. What fruit do you like and that you would eat at the drop of a hat? What vegetables do you like? Keep those in reach at all times. What type of beans do you like? What nuts do you like? You know, and what meals do you like to cook? So if you focus on eating what you like all the time, it's going to be easier to be able to, change into that type of lifestyle of eating that way, eating healthy when you pick from the foods that you like. And so, like I said, when you go out to the restaurant, you can't just pick what you like. I mean, you can pick what you like, but it's not going to be good. Like my body has gotten used to not having a lot of sodium. My body's gotten used to not tasting sugar. And it's gotten used to not having highly processed oils. And the moment that I eat it, my body knows it. My throat starts to burn. It's just immediate effects that I get. My body reacts. I get mucus build up. My nose starts to run. I got, trying to clear my throat all the time because milk products, and it may be in something that you may not even notice it. But if you buy a salad and most of the salads have those highly processed oils in it and or milk that is not good. Like I don't like to tell people not to drink cow's milk, but I think cow's milk is for calves.
Yeah.
I, I just I haven't had cow's milk in over 30 years.
Oh.
And one of the main reasons why I don't drink cow's milk is because of the mucus in it. And my husband used to drink a lot of milk, a lot. And he drank homogenized milk. He would drink about 1.5 gallons of milk a day.
Oh
And
my.
when I said, "Oh, I got to change you from drinking so much milk because, it's got all that fat in it, homogenized, a lot of fat." And back then they were always talking about low fat this, low fat that. And so they were selling people on the low fat stuff. And so I'm going to change you. And I weaned him down. We went from like that to 2% to 1.5% to skim milk. And I finally got him on skim milk. And I really thought I was doing something. So one day I read the back of the ingredients for all of those milk, and there was that sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And the same amount of grams of sugar was in each and every last one of those milks. And I'm like, you can't win. You just can't win. Milk is not healthy because of the sugar.
Yep.
And, I mean, if you have a grass fed cow, it may be a little bit healthier, but there are some things that are in the cow's milk that I just believe that is for the calf only and not for children. Yeah.
Yep. Well, Stacy, this has been very enlightening. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences and your knowledge with us.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's been my pleasure. I always like to talk about healthy things. Yeah.
All right, that's it for today's episode. At CPA Moms, we believe that women can have a successful career and raise a happy family. If you are ready to embrace work-life harmony and connect with like-hearted women, join our CPA Moms Facebook community. Just click the link in the show notes or search CPA Moms on Facebook. We can't wait to welcome you. Until next time, thank you for being here. We see you, we believe in you, and we can't wait to grow with you.